Okay, so you know how sometimes you just know something's a bad idea, but the temptation is just too much? That was ChronoSend for me. This little startup, Temporal Solutions, claimed they had cracked it, sending emails to the past. Beta testers needed. I began a technology reporter with a morbid curiosity, wangled my way in. The interface looked like any old email client, just with a target date field. My wife, Sarah, she died 3 years ago. Car crash. A drunk driver went through a red light at the junction of Oxford Road and Station Lane. 17th of May, 8:03. I still see it in my nightmare. So I typed, to Mark.Henderson at mailbox. Target date, 17th of May, 2022, 7 p.m. Subject, urgent. Avoid driving tonight. Mark, this is you. Future you. Sounds insane, I know. But please, for the love of God, do not let Sarah drive tonight. Don't go out. Stay home. Avoid Oxford Road and Station Lane at all cost. Just trust me, please. I hit send. My heart was a jackhammer. Nothing happened, obviously. Not in my present. A week later, I'm making coffee, and Sarah walks into the kitchen. Sarah, alive, smiling, complaining about the price of avocados. I dropped the mug. She rushed over. Mark, are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost. Sarah, my voice was a croak. Yeah, silly. Who else? She kissed my cheek. It felt like waking up from a dream you never wanted to end. Her lips were so warm, real. I could smell her shampoo, lavender and citrus. I just stared, afraid she'd vanish. But she didn't. The world felt off, though. My phone had a case I didn't remember. The coffee maker was different. A photo showed us at Niagara Falls, a trip we had never taken, at least not in my memory. Sarah was alive. That should have been enough, but the reporter in me couldn't let it go. I checked the news archives for 17th of May, 2022, bracing myself for the headline about the fatal crash at Oxford Road and Station Lane. It was gone. In its place, local couple win pub quiz championship. My heart thudded. What else had changed? My inbox was full of emails about a promotion I didn't remember. My editor congratulated me on an expose I had never written. That night, I lay awake, watching Sarah breathe, feeling both gratitude and unease. I had saved her, but at what cost? What else had changed? The next morning, I found a new email in my sent folder. It wasn't from me, not exactly. From Mark.Henderson at mailbox. Target date 21st of May, 2025, 6 a.m. Subject, urgent. Don't use ChronoSend again. Mark, this is you. Future you. Sounds insane, I know. But please, for the love of God, do not send any more emails to the past. Avoid the temptation. Don't ask questions. Don't try to fix anything else. Just live. Trust me, please. I stared at the screen as Sarah called from the kitchen. Mark, do you want some tea and toast? I closed the laptop. I walked to the kitchen. I hugged her, tighter than ever before. Maybe some second chances are meant to be lived, not questioned. Jeff Herman was the winner of his local gardening contest for 6 years in a row. Compared to others, his tomatoes were bigger, juicier, and more tasteful. His pumpkins were the biggest and most perfectly shaped anyone had ever seen. The peppers he grew were spicy and used by almost every local mother and grandmother for a variety of menu items like salsas and soups. His gardening techniques were unique, but when asked about them, he would change the subject. He loved his privacy and had no intention of giving away his secret to his success. His backyard, where he kept his enormous garden, was surrounded by a 10-foot fence so no one could even poke their head over and see what was going on. Even with all of this privacy, each year Jeff made the decision to take baskets and boxes full of vegetables to local farmers markets, entering himself into the contest that they held. Within the first 2 days, each time, he would sell out of everything. The town of Grayberry, where Jeff lived and sold his vegetables, had a population of 1,500 people. The police force was small, consisting of around 5 uniformed officers. If something serious were to happen, the town of Grayberry would have to pull officers from other surrounding towns to help. Most people in the town of Grayberry knew each other, calling each other by name, waving, taking wrong address packages directly to the right address. As private as Jeff was, he was no different. When he was out, he would wave. He would call people by name, smile, shake hands when necessary. He was popular, his vegetables were popular. The townspeople and those coming from hundreds of miles away couldn't get enough of Jeff and his vegetables. One day, a group of teenagers disappeared. I saw them right over there, Miss Lyons told the newspaper, pointing to the old playground that teenagers always hung out, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. The police investigated the disappearances, but came up with no leads. 3 weeks went by. The missing teenagers' faces posted on every street corner, in every grocery store, in every gas station. The 4th week of their disappearances, the town drunk disappeared. There was nothing left of him but an empty bottle of tequila, the police chief said in an interview with the news reporter. The police immediately began investigating again, but once again, there were no solid leads. The following weeks, people began to speculate that a serial killer was at large, snatching people off the streets. Every house had a new deadlock, a new gun, a new alarm system, and new floodlights. No one felt safe. But even with the chaos that ensued from the disappearances, Jeff Herman continued to sell out his vegetables, and everyone slowly moved on. An out-of-town newspaper even interviewed him about his gardening success this summer after the disappearances. His words, when asked how his garden was so perfect, "It's all in the fertilizer." There is something under my bed, and it keeps calling my name. I was drifting off to sleep. I had just got home from work and was exhausted when I heard a whisper, "Elijah." Then I lifted my head from my pillow and looked around. "Elijah," it whispered again. I rose and looked up to the ceiling, but it was empty. I went back to bed and tried to get some sleep once again. "Elijah." Now I got angry and turned on the lights in my room. Where on earth does this whispering keep coming from? I tracked the sound under my bed and looked in there, but nothing. Nothing but darkness and a little bit of dust. Went back to bed and finally fell asleep. After what I assumed to be a couple of hours, I woke up from a terrifying nightmare. The whole world was burning and I could see my family burning alive. It was horrible and I was completely soaked in sweat. I heard again. There was a cat-sized creature sitting on my chest. It was pale, had cat-like eyes that were glowing, and ragged clothing. It had big ears and it was hairy. It just looked at me. I stared back, but couldn't say a thing. I was petrified. The sun was shining on my face and I jumped up from my bed. There was no sign of that creature, so I thought it was just sleep paralysis. Then I heard it. Glancing under my bed, I noticed scratch marks. There were these small scratch marks under my bed, directly where my head would have been when I slept. "Elijah, it whispered in a raspy voice.